Okay, so let's talk about journaling myth number 4. Journaling is for people who are depressed or have personal problems. So my name is Padney. I'm from REU. Thank you so much for following my little mini series on 5 journaling myths and their truths. Today, I am going to be talking about journaling myth number 4, the suggestion that journaling is for people who are depressed or have personal problems. And I want to tread really carefully with this one as I smash it to pieces. I'm not going to trivialize this myth by saying that we all have problems or everyone is depressed at some point. No. As a person who lives with complex PTSD, major depression, suicidal ideations, and social anxiety disorder, I value the importance of bringing these kinds of mental health disorders to the forefront of discussion so that we can destigmatize the problem, right? And we need to talk about these things seriously and meaningfully so that we do not create stereotypes and diminish the value and the efficacy of people who are actually engaging with these practices as a method of recovery or proactive mental well-being. But I also know that in order to deal with things meaningfully, we have to talk about them. And we also have to remember that life is too serious for us to take things seriously, right? So some light humor is always part of the conversation. So let's get into it. Let's get into this myth that journaling is only for people who have problems or might be feeling depressed. So when I teach journaling, the first thing that I do is define it. I always say to my clients, journaling is a process. Journaling is a process for making space to reflect on thoughts, feelings, and experiences. So this means that when we're looking at the totality of our experiences, we're looking at the good, the bad, and the neutral. Why? Because we're using the process of journaling in a specific way. We're using it to grow neural pathways that support our meta-awareness or cognitive network or resilience network, all of these little networks, neural networks that are really engaging in the ways or helping us engage with the way that our minds work and process information and influence our communication and self-storage patterns. So this means that, you shouldn't just journal about unhappy or unpleasant moments. It also means that you shouldn't journal gratitude and happiness today because you might be feeling a little bit lonely or sad or disconnected from the people around you. You ought to be journaling about the pleasant, the unpleasant, and the neutral because it supports the process of neuroplasticity. And if you take what I said in busting myth number 3 about attending to the why of journaling and the cues, you'll get greater insight into this. And this is what we talk about in that 4-week workshop, the need for that insight and understanding why and when that process of journaling becomes super important. The other thing with journaling as a process, or the other thing with seeing journaling as a process of making space to reflect, is that we get to see the benefits of engaging in this reflective practice, influencing other aspects of our life that are separate from our mental and emotional states. So for example, studies show that when college and high school students engage in journaling as a practice, they become better note takers and critical thinkers, which means that they write better papers, they communicate better, and they do better overall in school. For adults who are in a work environment, research shows that having a journaling practice helps them to improve their emotional intelligence and their communicative practice, and it increases their empathy for team members. This means that they're better coworkers, they're better leaders, they're better bosses, they're better supervisors, and they're better with their own families at the end of the day. So one of my favorite experiences with journaling is the problem solving skills that have helped me over my lifetime. Through journaling, I have developed the skills to be analytical and reflective. And this has been a tremendous help for me throughout my time in school. It's also helped with the way that I communicate, the way that I engage in planning and problem solving. But it's also helped me to develop systems to take a step back and to look at things from different angles before I take action. So if you are one of those people who believe that journaling is just a sad sack activity, think again. So let's call that myth number 4 busted. Journaling is a mindfulness, problem solving, creativity, communication, and expression tool that can be used by anyone at any time. You don't have to be unhappy to journal. You don't have to be happy to journal either. And there are amazing benefits to journaling beyond the mental health component. But guess what? Those mental health benefits feed back into or overall, those non-mental health benefits rather, the way that we can communicate, the way that we can function better in our workplaces, in our learning environments, and so on, actually feed back into our overall mental wellness and well-being. Isn't that amazing? Okay, so that's myth number 4. Thank you so much for listening. Bye.